memory laws are affecting democracy in two distinct ways. The first way is by using these narratives to impose a certain vision of history, a certain way of thinking about the past. When a law tells you that you can or cannot say something about the past, that means that behind it, some people are being discriminated against and their narratives are being silenced. And so what we see increasingly is, because of ethno-national populism and the rise of nationalism, that these memory laws are increasingly being used in order to suppress and silence the narratives of certain events, of certain victims and their family members, which obviously creates a restriction and a diminishment of the public space. Because if you disable and silence a certain view of history, vision of history, if you restrict participation in the public sphere and discussion, open and frank discussion, if you keep people from being able to look each other in the eye and face past atrocities together in order to overcome it as a society, then that is one of the dangers one of the risks of using memory laws. And this is problem number one. The second important challenge that memory laws pose to democracy is the attachment of criminal sanctions to memory laws. When a state endorses a certain view of the past, and when that endorsement implies that if you contradict it, you will go to jail, that can be problematic. Not least because a lot of dictatorships and regimes that are anti-democratic nowadays are using the very same memory laws that were developed in liberal European countries in the 90s, such as laws prohibiting the denial of genocide, to incarcerate political opposition, the political opposition in their states. So we see that there is an instrumentalization of the original intention of the memory laws, which was to protect the identity of victims, the dignity of victims, and the dignity of very momentous events in the history of humankind. And this instrumentalization is affecting the very people who have sought to protect those rights and who have sought to protect those values, those democratic values. So criminal sanctions for the expression or contradiction of state narratives is one aspect. The other aspect is, of course, the restriction of freedom of expression, which goes hand in hand with this sanctions problem. And restricting expression is also one of the ways in which memory laws have really impinged on democratic participation and free speech.